Republican Congressman from Georgia, Tom Price. Good to see you. He's the ranking member on the Health, Employment, Labor, and Pensions Subcommittee, and Democratic Congressman from Maryland, Dutch Ruppersberger. Also good to see you. He serves on the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Gentlemen, I want to talk money first. Some 4 million Americans are going to see their unemployment checks stop about 9 days from now. And I understand, Congressman Price, that Republicans have a sticking point, and that's why they won't let this get through. What is that sticking point?
Well, we believe that any extension of the unemployment benefits ought to be paid for, that they ought to be budget neutral, that we ought not be borrowing from our kids and our grandkids in order to continue the unemployment insurance program. But the bottom line actually is that we need to put in place programs that will actually create jobs, which this administration and the leadership in this Congress, Speaker Pelosi, have not done. We need to give certainty to the taxes so that there will be no tax increases for any American or any American business. We need to decrease spending, and we need to make certain that businesses aren't going to be hit with the incredible expenses of the Obamacare that was passed earlier this year.
You know, I hear all of that, and honestly, gentlemen, the American people just want to know, what is it going to take to get a deal done? So, Democratic Congressman Ruppersberger, is there any middle ground for unemployment benefits before November 30th?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to fund our government agencies. By December the 4th, if we don't fund our government agencies, they won't have money to give out the Social Security checks, whatever else is needed to be done. That's what we call, probably what will happen, a continuing resolution, where we will pass a bill that will give the agencies money for a month, 2 months, or whatever, and that will be based on last year's budget. So there will be no increases from last year. So that's a temporary measure. Unfortunately, there's some things that we should do. I believe very strongly that we should pass the defense budget and the Homeland Security budget. We still are fighting terrorism, and we need to protect our country from that threat. And we also need to give our troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, the resources to do the job. Now, as it relates to the issue of unemployment, these are individuals that had jobs and they've lost jobs. These are usually people who have families and young children. And we need to clearly take care of them on the short-term basis. Not the long-term, but the short-term, because hopefully in the long-term they will have jobs. So we need to move forward on a temporary basis with that.
Let me ask you this, because you started off in one direction and you got back to joblessness, or rather jobless benefits. And I want to bring it back. The American people waiting for a decision to be made. What does it take to get both sides of the middle? Can you pay for these unemployment benefits so people can get their checks extended?
Well, we have to pay for that, no question. And one of the things I think both that Tom Price and I both agree on, we have to stop this partisan politics. The people want us to get things done. So it takes two sides to resolve these issues. And I would hope that our leadership is coming together now to deal with the issue of unemployment.
What will your side give, Congressman Price?
Oh, look, we're interested with anything that's on the table. What we want to make certain is that we're not borrowing again from our kids and our grandkids.
Right, but where would you cut to pay for it?
These unemployment benefits absolutely have been going on for a significant length of time, except many, in fact, many of the workers out there who can't find a job right now have had benefits for up to 99 weeks. What we really need to do is solve the fundamental problem, which is to get jobs created in this economy. And that's where the talking about taxes and talking about spending is so incredibly important. Where would we cut? We're happy to put anything on the table. We would just like to move forward in a positive way, in a bipartisan way, as Dutch mentioned.
All right. You guys are going back at it. Right after Thanksgiving, you won't have much time. Jobless benefits on the table. Those Bush-era tax cuts also a big sticking point. Many Americans' taxes are going to go up. Almost everybody who's working. Their taxes are going to go up on January 1st if y'all don't do something. So how do you come together on that? Real quickly, each gentleman, please. Mr. Price, go first.
Well, we've been promoting for a long time the fact that no American ought to have their taxes or any American business ought to have taxes increased at a time of economic challenge. There's no reason why we should do this and further punish those job creators out there across this great nation. If you want to get people back to work, then you give them tax certainty. You don't increase their taxes. Don't punish the job creators. How we do that, there are all sorts of different ways that we ought to be able to do that. What we'd like to do is to see that bill come to the floor of the House, though, so that you can see a bipartisan support for no increase in taxes.
All right, Mr. Ruppersberger, there have been some numbers thrown out that perhaps you could see a permanent extension of anybody making $250,000 and more, you know, but then kind of meet in the middle with Republicans for just extending them for everybody for a short period of time. Does that get done in a lame duck?
Well, I would hope it does. Let me tell you what my position is. This is not a time for us to raise anybody's taxes in America. Right now, we need to do what we have to do to create jobs and get the economy in a better position. But my position is that we should extend the Bush tax cuts, all of the tax cuts, for 1 year, and then reevaluate that issue. And the reason is that when we don't cut taxes, then we're in a position where we increase the deficit. So if you're going to cut taxes, you have to cut spending. So we have to get our economy moving, and I think this is the right time not to extend it. This is the right time to extend the Bush tax cuts, but it's not the time to raise taxes. But we have to deal with the issue of the deficit also.
Wow. Okay. So
There's
a year. We're making some progress here.
Agreement.
Real quickly,
there's
Mr.
some
Price.
bipartisan agreement. There's some bipartisan agreement. You're absolutely right. What we would do, I hope Dutch would join me in doing, and that's calling on Speaker Pelosi to bring that bill to the floor of the House the week we get back and allow a vote on it.
All right. I hear you guys coming together. Wow. We did something they don't do on Capitol Hill. Right here on Fox News Channel. Mr. Ruppersberger and Mr. Price, thanks for being here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.